What's up everyone? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Paris and I make videos all about candle making and the starting and managing of my small candle business, Lady Simone Candle Co. As you can probably tell from the title of this video, I am going to be trying out a beeswax starter kit, and I'm super excited because this is really my first time testing out and trying beeswax, so I'm excited to kind of see how the scent throw is. I know many of you love beeswax, so I'm actually about to get my hands dirty with the beeswax as well. So let's just get started. So I just want to start by saying I decided to begin incorporating these type of videos such as reviews, and I have some other ideas on review videos down the road, mainly because this is to give some insight to new beginner candle makers and where they can kind of find starter kits, starter materials, and things like that. So I actually found this kit on Amazon. It was $30. That's pretty normal price for a beginner starter kit, and I'm super excited. So we're just going to dive right in, and I am going to flip my camera around and show you all what came inside the kit. All right guys, so it came with this pouring pot here for obviously to melt your wax. It came with a pound of beeswax, all up measured out in these four bags. That pot is a pound as well. It came with these super cute tins, which holds about 2 ounces each. Super cute. It looked like they're zodiac signs, and I thought that was very creative and festive and just funky, and I actually love it. It's super cute. It came with wicks, wick stickers, and then 2 wick holders and a stirring utensil. So upon opening this kit, I did realize right off the bat, I noticed that although it has 8 tins for the amount of wax we're going to be pouring, it only came with 2 wick holders. So if this is a kit that you may be interested in and you're just on Amazon searching around, you know, make sure you read what all comes included. I saw that it came with 2 wick holders, but I also knew that I had plenty of wick holders here at the house, so that wasn't a huge deal to me. But for someone just starting and not really knowing and maybe relying on the kit to completely provide everything, it did not provide enough wick holders. So I grabbed 6 more clothespins to add to the wick holder stash for when we go to clip our wicks. And I also noticed, number 2, that it did not supply fragrance oil. Now, a lot of the starter kits that I have experience with all came with fragrance oils, but this kit did not. So that's something else that, you know, I just wanted to make a disclaimer about. However, for my beginner candle makers out there who may not have stashes of oils available, that is something to keep in mind when searching for kits, say on Amazon. I know that's where a lot of beginners start, you know, with their supplies, because Amazon, you can kind of get that free shipping, next day shipping, and generally things can be either around the same price or a little cheaper. So I just wanted to make you aware of that. So I did go in my stash and I pulled out Red Currant from Candle Science, and we are going to play with this scent. It's really Christmassy. It reminds you of the holidays, so I thought this would be a perfect time to pull this out and test around with that. So we are going to get started. So with this kit, it said it comes with a 600 milliliter pouring pot, which is this here. This is when you kind of have to put on your math hat and get on Google and start converting numbers that will help you make your candles depending on how you work. So milliliters is just over a pound. So this is pretty much basically holds a pound of wax. and it said it came with 480 grams of beeswax. So this is 480 grams of beeswax, which I know is pretty much a pound of wax. So this will pretty much hold, that pot will pretty much hold all of this. And it comes with lead-free wicks if you're curious. And because we have 8 tins and the wax is already measured out for us, I wanted to know how much of a fragrance load percentage is recommended for beeswax. And I saw a lot, about 6% fragrance load was recommended for beeswax at the minimum. So I am just going to stick with the 6%. That is pretty much what I use as well. That is basically about 28 grams of fragrance oil, which, because we have 8 tins here divided out and our wax is already given to us, 480, I just pretty much divided that by 8 and I got 60 grams, which is about 2 ounces per tin. I have my water back here boiling. I'm going to go ahead and open up my wax and get everything in the pot. I went on and wicked all of my candle tins that came with the package, and now I'm just waiting on the wax to finish melting. So I just want to show you where we are. I just poured in my last bag of one of the beeswax pouches. Now, one thing I recommend is, although this hold a pound of wax, all 4 pouches cannot fit in there at the very beginning. So I've let 2 pouches melt down, added my 3rd pouch, let that all melt down, and then I just added my 4th pouch. So just keep that in mind. I think they should have supplied a bigger pitcher. Although it was 1 pound of wax, it holds 1 pound of liquid. But it can't hold a pound of solid beeswax particles. So I just, I don't really I think they should have supplied maybe a 2-pounder just so it can all fit comfortably. A lot of beginner starter candle kits always have at least a 2-pounder. So that's something that I noticed while melting down, but so far so good. All right guys, so it's all melted. I am about to go ahead and add my fragrance oil. I have my scale here so that way I can measure out 60 grams per tin as I'm pouring. And yeah, that's what I'm about to do now. All right, everyone, so all the little tins have been wicked, and I got the clips on there, so we are all good to go. I'm going to go ahead and give you my initial review. So one thing that I've already noticed, look how fast beeswax dry. It's not really focusing, but I hope you all can kind of already see that like pale white film. It's already drying quite fast, which is something I'm definitely not used to. I know with soy wax, and even now with the wax I use, coconut soy blend, it will definitely still be liquid at this point. And I just poured these like maybe 3 minutes ago, and it's already curing and forming. So my initial overall review, number one, it did not come with a fragrance oil. So if you are a beginner and you don't have some extra fragrance oils on hand, that will be something to think about. Number two, it only came with 2 wick holders. So same with what I just said with the fragrance oil. You may have to offset that with some extra wick holders. Number three, I think they should have just went with a 2-pound pot. The 1 pounder is definitely enough. It was enough to hold the 1 pound of liquid in its liquid form, but in pouring it in its initial solid form, it was definitely a struggle. I started pouring, about time I started pouring my second pack, I noticed that it was pretty much almost filled. So I just took a step back and said, okay, I'll just wait till those 2 packs melt down. I added my 3rd pack. Once that was fully melted, I added my 4th pack and melted it all down together. It did come with instruction guide. So if you're a beginner, you're like, well, how do I do this? Where do I start? It definitely came with a basic step-by-step instruction guide. So that's what that looks like. Another thing with this kit from my initial review, and I'm putting on my beginner candle maker hat, is that this kit, and sometimes with other kits, I've had this experience even with other kits from candle suppliers. Sometimes you may have to fill in the gap with numbers. So that is something that you'll have to convert. Now, although the wax was already measured out for you, you had the pouring pot, and it did not come with the fragrance oil. So you would have to kind of think like, okay, what about the fragrance load percentage? This is my first time working with beeswax, so I had to go a step further, use Google and say, hey, what is normally the recommended fragrance load percentage for beeswax? And at minimum it was 6%. So I said, okay, well, I'll use 6% and start there. And this is where the testing comes in, guys. You know, you kind of float between that 6 to 10, 6 to even 12%, depending on the type of wax you use. And you flirt with those numbers to kind of see what gives you the scent throw that you're pleased with. So those are my initial reviews, my initial thoughts. So what I'm going to do is I want to let these cure and set. I am going to clip the wicks, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to give my review on the scent throw and how they burn and things like that. So stay tuned for that. Hey y'all, so I'm back. 2 clips prior, I had ended that clip saying that I will let them cure. So I let them cure for 24 hours. I clipped the wicks and then I stored them, and it's been about a week. And then in the previous clip you saw, that was after a 2-hour burn test. And so I just kind of want to give my review on the cold throw, hot throw, and then how I see that it's burning and if I would recommend this or not. So as far as the cold throw, love it. I was actually pretty impressed. Again, I haven't worked with beeswax, and so in terms of really making candles and doing tests and things like that. So this was actually, I was very impressed with the cold throw. Again, I used red currant from Candle Science. And so with the 6% fragrance load, I wasn't sure, you know, if it would really give me a punch. And again, I know with working with soy wax, you're not always going to get that punch anyway. So I was very, very curious with the beeswax whether or not I was going to get a throw or not. And I did. The cold throw was pretty impressive. In terms of the hot throw, where you saw it burning, it was actually in my half bath. I have a pretty open area downstairs. So sitting on my couch, and you can just make a nice little curve to the right, and there's my half bath, and I can actually smell the red currant scent coming out. And as you lead into the bathroom, you can immediately smell it. And so it definitely feels a small to medium space quite well for a 2-ounce tin and for that fragrance load percentage that I use. So the hot throw was amazing. It's very warm and it kind of gives you those pine Christmassy vibes with the scent. So that was quite lovely and enjoyable, you know, as a candle lover and maker. So I was again impressed with the beeswax and the throw that it gave with that percentage load. But again, you can always kind of increase that percentage, you know, at least up to maybe 10%, and see, you know, play around with that range and see what you like when testing. As far as the burn session that I did, again, that was just after 2 hours and it didn't quite reach full melt pool yet, as you saw. So I'm sure after that 3rd to 4th hour of my first burn, it will kind of go, it will reach that memory pool, that full diameter melt pool, like it should. So I will be keeping an eye on it, but it's actually burning quite nice, not a lot of flickering. And yeah, so that is my final thoughts and review on this kit. For a beginner candle maker, if you are trying to figure out what wax you like, what route you want to go in terms of maybe just either making candles, or you're thinking about starting a business or starting out with a line and you're just trying to figure out what kind of wax you like, and I would definitely recommend this kit. It's $30 and you're not spending a lot of money on buying tons of wax, and it gives you 8 small vessels to try and play with. It already comes with what you need. Only thing is, as a beginner candle maker, you're already starting to probably smell fragrances and buy little fragrance oils and maybe those 1 ounce testers and things like that. So I would make sure you have fragrance oil on hand, because it did not come with it. And then make sure you have some additional wick bars and clothespins. If you didn't catch my last week's video on the basic tools and equipment you need to begin candle making, it included the fact that you need clothespins or wick bars to start. So I would make sure you have that on hand. But other than that, I think this is a pretty good kit for 30 bucks to make 8 small candles. You can kind of place them in different rooms in your house and see kind of how it feels, different size spaces, and see if you like playing with the beeswax and try it out. So I will link this kit in the description box below if you're interested. I enjoyed playing with it. I'll probably do some more trying out beeswax with different fragrances and different percentages probably in the future, and keep an eye on the testing and see how I like it as well, just as something to make at least for my home, because it smells amazing. So yeah, so until next time, bye.